Hello everyone and welcome to Twitch Tales, episode 99. Where did we leave off in episode 98? So, Apis is deep behind enemy lines. Apis has been helping the Kingdom of Serentiel, the island of Corentiel specifically, in their war against the demons. Up in the northwest of the island there is an area of relatively unexplored terrain called the Great Expanse, a huge swath of forest. Nearby there is a small frontier town called Shadridge, and the Shadridge has been recently turned into a bit of a war camp, the front line of a fight against demons. The demons seem to be spilling out of a single giant portal over by a lone mountain up to the north, somewhere deep in the heart of the Great Expanse, and then several smaller subsequent supplemental portals through which the demons are coming as well. Apis and their SWAT team have their eyes laser focused on the main portal deep behind enemy lines, and if they can close that one, they feel confident that the rest of them will fall as well. Apis has many allies in the form of a tentative alliance with the Hobgoblin army, an even more tentative alliance with some Yugoloth fiends, some mercenaries made up of a bunch of freaks and weirdos called the MMs, and a very strenuous relationship with a werewolf faction, essentially. So while the allies are heading off to deal with the minor demons and the excursions and to keep the demons at bay, to keep them focused on them, to keep their attention away from you, you have slipped behind enemy lines, very narrowly escaped being caught out by an insane-sized roaming warband of gnolls, over 70 of them, with war drums and storms raging and such. And then also, even more narrowly avoided being killed by a goblin with a grudge. Way back from episode, what would it be, episode 3 or something of this entire campaign. Somewhere around that vicinity, Apis attacked a goblin camp and left one goblin alive and badly injured and tied to a tree. That goblin survived, bulked up, got swole, and then you recruited him into your party unknowingly. And he tried to exact his revenge with a knife between your ribs. You managed to, thankfully, last session, avoid turning that encounter into a full-blown encounter with the Gnoll Band, incapacitate and ultimately defeat and kill Krak, or this goblin, let's say, without alerting any other creatures to your danger. Upon leaving that and heading deeper into enemy territory towards your goal, you approached the other goblin that you'd recruited into your party, a goblin that was calling himself Apis, and stealing your stories and who you were, and claiming to pass your achievements off as their own. Upon questioning Apis and confronting them on the fact that you know they're not really a goblin, they came clean of sorts and said, it doesn't matter what you think, these braces belong to me. And in doing so, revealed that they are, in fact, not only Apis, an impersonator of you in goblin form, they are also the Fey Changeling creature that was sent here by the Archfey, the Merry Gentleman, to pass themselves off as you, while you were otherwise indisposed in the Feywild. Goblins only get swole for revenge purposes, yes. So that's where we pick up today. You are face to face in the forest with a goblin that has just revealed that it knows that you know who it is, and it can start to drop the pretense. A smile crosses over Apis's face. A smile that you recognize instantly as one of the mischievous delight that comes from a Fey being able to make clear their deceptions and to pull off a prank and enjoy the aftermath that comes from that. You.
Yes, me. Pleasure to meet me, Apis.
What do you want to do or say to this creature? He stays in his goblin form for now, and the two of you are walking side by side ahead of the rest of the group, or behind the rest of the group. I think it was actually in actuality. And in case you need a reminder, in your SWAT team, in your group, there is a dragonborn demon fighter specialist who is part ranger, part fighter, part artificer. There is a flitty, flighty, sneaky, roguelike shadow monk fairy, who is also a very good demon fighter and good at getting in and out of small spaces. You have a werefox friend of yours called Mosh, who is indestructible against non-magical damage sources. So it makes him very useful against the slashing and biting and whatnot of the demons. And you have your giant bee companion, Mel. And then, of course, there's you, and there's some sort of fey creature. If we give him a hug, will he have to give us our braces as a balance? Maybe. Shouldn't you be getting back to the Feywild? After you've given me my braces back, of course.
Oh, my job's not done here.
Look, we're really busy right now, as you know. But you and I have got some unfinished business, so you don't go running off till we settle it, you hear?
Aye, aye, Captain.
Let's introduce him to the others. So what will it take to get them back then? Hey! And you call out to get the others to stop.
To get them back implies that they were yours. They were never yours. They belonged to the person that was making them, and then they belonged to me. You have no claim to them.
Are you here under the Merry Gentleman's orders? He just kind of non-committally, very subtly kind of just like bobs his head rather than like nodding outright or saying yes. I want my braces back, regardless of what your fancy fair rules say. I commissioned the braces. I killed the dragon they were made from. What do you want for them?
Interesting. So
he points at the let's say which items. He points at the let's say the leather armor that you're wearing. He goes, "Oh, so you killed the you had that leather armor commissioned, did you?" And before you can even answer, he goes, "You killed the cow that the leather was taken from, did you?" You kind of realize what point he's making. So commission whoever commissions it and whoever like provides the materials it's made out of, they have ownership claims over it? Because that's interesting. I didn't realize that's how it worked here. And he's obviously been a real asshole about it. Give me a reason why I shouldn't deal with you here and now and take those braces back.
It's an interesting bluff, but you remember I lived as you for months, right? I know you're not the type.
What's your job? Quote me the orders that you have. You have no power to give me orders here. Need to keep walking and talking. Can't be late to the main portal. Yeah, I'm assuming that you're walking as you're going. At this point, the rest of your team have turned and said, "What is it?" And you go, "I'd like to introduce you to someone." And Apis says,
"Oh, interesting. Okay."
And the others look confused. And what do you mean? You say, "This isn't a goblin at all. What are you? Are you going to show us what you really look like?" He goes, He sees the suspicion on people's faces. He sees that Fang is going for his weapon slowly. He goes,
I don't see the harm in it.
And he starts to shift his form. In an instant, you see that the first thing you notice is all of the clothing that he's wearing, all of the any armor, any items on his body, even they shift in color. That's the first thing that changes. It's kind of, if you imagine a video of an octopus changing its camouflage. Not only do they change their skin color, but they change the texture of it. They can make parts of it bumpy or rough, or other parts of themselves smooth. They can camouflage themselves with a rock, not just with the color, but the texture and the shading and everything as well. In a very similar way, the shading, the color, the texture of all of the items that he's wearing and carrying seem to shift to that of like this. It's kind of like a black paint mixing with a white paint. There are areas where it's blending into this grey, but there's mostly this black and white kind of, not quite to the level of Rorschach from the Watchmen series, but it's a very similar kind of melding. Everything shifts into this almost soup-like possibility state, but very quickly it doesn't stay in that shape. It just grows from there into a much taller creature. The goblin was around 4 feet tall, give or take, a little shorter than you, and instead this creature grows to about 5.5 feet tall. It resembles humanoid still as it grows. It still has the 2 arms, 2 legs, and a head, no tail, and eventually it looks very elf-like or very Aladrin-like. It's got longer ears and not quite as sharp features as an elf does. But it becomes this creature of this black and white kind of amalgamation. It eventually the sort of shifting colours of it stays in this mostly like black down one side, white down the other, with some patches of grey throughout. And as it stands there looking at you, it seemingly has no body hair, no clothing. It doesn't have any need for clothing because it doesn't have external genitalia that you can see that it would be ashamed of or needing to cover up with clothes. It's just this. It's this infinite possibility state where a lot of its features are kind of just bland enough that you could turn them into anything. It's kind of like the very first stages if you were to make a person out of sculpting clay of some kind. It's the earliest stages of that before you get to the detail stage of like carving out the cheeks and the shape of the face. It's just this, almost like one of those moldable dolls that you can use, one of those moldable wooden dolls that you can position so that you can get your art right. It's one of those sorts of shapes with this smooth Barbie doll-esque body. And after he finishes shifting, it only takes about 3 seconds from start to end. And as it finishes, it speaks to the others directly and says, "It's a pleasure to meet you. You can call me Oaf." Does it have eyes? It does have pools of eyes. They seem to be solid black, like no sclera. Oaf is correct, Wraith. Yes, O-A-F. It's a pleasure to meet you. You can call me Oaf. Do we recognize what he is? I don't believe you would, but I'll give it a chance. Let's give you an Arcana check. Don't lose that dice. So with your dice, here we go. That is a 5 on the dice. So with a 5 plus your intelligence of 3, very book smart person, Apis. That's an 8. And then with the proficiency in Arcana, since you became an arcane archer, that's another 3. So you actually turn that 5 into an 11, which is not bad. 11 is just in the average scheme of things, and you know what? I am going to also give you advantage on this because your mother told you a lot of fairy stories growing up, and you're trying to recognize a particular fey creature. So I'll give you advantage on it. So it turns the 5 into a 7, turns the 11 into a 13. So with a 13, I'll say you don't recognize him as what he is because you've never seen one before. You don't recognize the appearance of it. But the fact that it can change shape at will, seemingly, and has this this body that is clearly designed to be able to shift from one form to another, and its voice changes and modulates completely differently as well, I'll say that it's not unexpected for you to be under the impression that this thing is called a changeling, and they are usually used by the Fae to replace babies if they steal babies, especially hags and things will use changelings. They are put in place of anyone that needs to be replaced, and that is exactly what has happened with you as well. You disappeared to the Feywild. You were kidnapped to the Feywild. You could look at it as, and just like they would do with a baby, they replaced it with a changeling. Does this mean the braces aren't real? I mean, when it transforms, you don't see the braces on it. Does it have a mouth? Not when it's not speaking. When it's not speaking, there is like a small lump, a bump in the front of its face that would be able to be sculpted into a nose of some kind, and then it has the position for a mouth, but no mouth. And then when it speaks, a mouth seems to open. It's like one of those images, if you've seen like laser cut precision metal, that can it looks like a solid chunk of metal, and then a piece will slide out of it and slide back into it, and it's like a percentage of a millimeter precision. If you ever seen something like that, it's like that. The mouth is perhaps always there and unnoticeable. There's no obvious lips, and then when it opens, it needs a mouth. So, Oath, what pronouns do you use? And they turn to you and say, you can use whatever pronouns you wish for me. They, them, it, we, he, she, Faye. Yeah, I'm not picky. Any pronouns for me is fine. Are you doing this here willingly? You're not coerced or forced, right? I'm not under coercion to be here. Would we or Minnie know a way to mark Oath so that if it changes, we could track it? Hunter's Mark? Hunter's Mark would work because Hunter's Mark specifically says that you track a creature, and for the duration of the spell, you know where the creature is and can track it. And it doesn't say the creature; it says the creature, not what until the creature changes shape or anything. So yeah, Hunter's Mark should work. Let me just double check the wording of it. Hunter's Mark. You choose a creature you can see within range. Tick. Mystically mark it as your quarry until the spell ends, which is concentration up to an hour, unless you want to upcast it. Concentration up to an hour. You until the spell ends, you deal extra damage to the target when you hit it with a weapon attack, and you have advantage on any perception and survival checks made to find it. And that's it. So, advantage on perception and survival checks made to find it if he decides to disappear. We also would need to concentrate on Pass Without a on Hunter's Mark, and we need the concentration for Pass Without a Trace. Yeah. Concentrating on one spell means you drop concentration on another. You getting a reward for helping here? I am rewarded for the work that I'm doing on this plane, yes. You can't tell me your orders, fine. But you lived as me for months. How about you tell me what kind of shenanigans you've been involved in, so I know what type of consequences for your actions I have to expect coming at me for later. Why would I tell you there's a surprise party? It ruins the surprise. Not that I'm telling you there is a surprise party, because that would also ruin the surprise. I'm just saying that if there is a surprise coming for you, half of the fun is the surprise. I just got stabbed in the back from a goblin for my own past actions. I don't want to get stabbed in the back from some other thing for your past actions. My job here was to keep you safe, to keep your reputation intact, to keep you from harm, whatever that may look like. I would not have done anything here that would have dangerous repercussions for you. Danger is not something that I'm interested in for entertainment purposes. Have we met before? Question. I must have missed that one. Have you and I met before? Not in person, but I know a lot about you. Who gave you this job that isn't finished yet? I think you know the answer to that one. Are we staying here? Says Fang. Are we just sitting here and chatting? Like, what is this? Are you a threat to our mission? No, I'm your goals and mine are aligned here. Right. Apis, what say you? We trusting this thing? We killing it? We dismissing it? What's happening? We need to get a move on. Why are we still pretending to be me, taking credit for my deeds? You're free to be who you want to now. Because I was doing it right under your nose, and I wanted to know how long I could do so before you would call me out on it. Seems like amusement is one of their biggest driving factors. Apart from the braces, you also stole money from my stash. My stash? No, that stash belonged to Apis Hive. I took my money and I paid for my braces. Well, thank you for organising a surprise party. I look forward to it. We'll trust them. You turn to Fang to answer his question. We'll trust them as much as we trust any other fee, which is to say not much, but we don't have much of an option. We've got no choice but to trust them. Time is short, so let's keep moving. You continue moving. You can walk and talk with these guys. You are doing so very quietly with Pass Without a Trace up, obviously. And you are heading in the direction of the mountain. Let me just check what weather is like at the moment. What is the weather like here? It is not raining. It is winter, so it is cold, but it is not raining, and that's helpful for keeping the morale up slightly. You make sure to say loud enough that everybody can hear. I'm pretty sure that Oath is on the right side of this, but everybody use your own judgment and keep an eye on them, of course. So, Oath, you work for the Merry Gentleman? I work with the Merry Gentleman. Is this the most efficient form you'd know to fight demons? What, this one? No, I don't like to be in this form much. Well, stay in whatever form is appropriate to you. As far as I'm concerned, I don't care. Oh, very well. And it shifts back down. You see it like it's being a very fast time lapse of somebody sculpting and moulding this clay. Pushes it down into a much more squat, stout body until it is resembling you. It is exactly you. It is uncannily you. It is something you've never experienced before, because in a world where even mirrors are not that ubiquitous, you will have seen yourself in a mirror. You'll have seen yourself in reflections on ponds. But to see yourself walking around not reflecting you, and what's more is, the only thing that is different between that creature and you is the fact that that creature is wearing dragon scale braces of a beautiful green sheen. It is shiny and they are reflective, but not in like a blinding way. The scales have been polished. The leather straps that hold them to their arm is pristine, and the buckles are beautiful. They seem to have this magical quality to them, and they are clearly walking along, just scratching heads and stretching. At one point, Oaf walks just slightly to the side of your right shoulder, and then stretches out to just bring the bracer like right here in front of your eyes. Whew, it's a long walk, huh? Can we see what her hair looks like from the back? Yeah, it's the first time you've ever seen yourself from the back. Quickly whisper a safe word to the rest of the group individually. Very clever, high-tech geek. What would you like the safe word to be? That money was mine. I'm Apis Hive. So if you use that money to pay for the braces as Apis Hive, the braces belong to Apis Hive, and therefore they're mine. Apis turns around to you and says, but I'm Apis Hive. The money belongs to me. I'm Apis Hive. The braces belong to Apis Hive. I'm Apis Hive. So therefore they're my braces. Holds out a hand and do a gimme motion while smiling with an eyebrow raised, trying to out paradox out talk the Fae there. Oh, for you as competent as I am, or are you just not as tough as I look? Anything you can do, I can do better. I can do anything better than you. He just sings to himself as they walk. Sorry. If I cut off your finger, would you be able to grow it back? If I cut off your finger, would you be able to grow it back? Well, no, because I'm not a changeling. I'm not a dwarf. I'm not a dwarg. Right? Didn't answer the question. I know. How infuriating, he says, and then they turn around and keep walking. Could you please change something about your appearance so that others can't tell us apart? Sure. I'm gonna make you a perception check. That is a 17. 17 plus your perception is very good. Forest bonus doesn't apply here, but perception is a +5 anyway, so 22. With a 22, you see that Apis Hive gets about 2 inches taller and just is slightly more broad. Maybe just 1 inch tall even. Like just an inch taller and just almost imperceptibly more broad. Pineapple is the pineapple's fine. All right. So you make a point of walking up to the different members of your party and individually whispering to them. Pineapple is the if at any point you don't know if it's me or the fake one, the code word is pineapple. And you do that to all of them, so they all except for fake Apis have the code word pineapple in case you need to tell the two of you apart. Shoot him! He's clearly the bad guy. I want those braces off. What's it going to take for you to give them to me? Well, maybe you have to earn them. Maybe after we're done with the portal, maybe I'll be grateful enough to give you them as a gift. My own generosity. Do you actually have a bow? Can you fire an arrow? They do have a bow over their shoulder, yeah. Like a bow that looks remarkably like yours, and a quiver that looks quite a lot like yours. Almost identical to yours. Are your weapons just smoke and mirrors, or are they real? Oh, they're real. I can fire a bow just as well as you can fire a bow. I was Apis before you, and I'll be Apis long after you've become someone else. Don't fool yourself as to who I am. Aye, I'm not fooling myself. I know that you're Apis Hive. I just know that I'm Apis Hive too. Poor Mel, she can break a little bee brain. Yeah, Mel is fucking like she's not having a good time. Mel has got a 6 intelligence, which for a bee is incredibly intelligent. That's like chimpanzee level intelligence. She is not able to follow what's going on, and if it wasn't for the fact that she's literally riding on your back on like a little perch that you made for her specifically on your bag, which he also has, which they also have on their bag as well, by the way. If it wasn't for the fact that they are riding on you when they changed, the Mel would probably not be able to tell the two of you apart. Please rub the double Scottish without identifying where each person speaking ends is doing my head in. Yep, that's the point, Sparrow. The braces are a pretty noticeable difference at the moment. Yep. The only one with dragon braces is the bad guy. Well, not bad guy, but the other guy. Could you turn into like a dragon if we needed that for some reason? At the moment, dragon's not in my repertoire, no. If you're Apis Hive, who am I? You're Apis Hive. Do you have panpipes? Aye. Pats the bag that you hold, the satchel bag. Can we get 2 quivers of holding? Just kill this guy and loot him for all of our own stuff. How are your panpipe skills? Do you really want to do a panpipe off right now? And at this point, Fang has lost his rag. And although you are the leader of this expedition, Fang turns around and snaps and says, "Would you two shut the fuck up? We're in behind enemy lines and we're in demon territory. I know that this is fucking crazy, whatever the shit is that's going on." He's not Scottish. New Zealander. He goes, "I know that this is crazy what's going on here between the two of you, but fucking stop it, alright? We need to focus on the mission. We can work out whatever the fuck this is afterwards." I'm Fang right now. Slice on the same page. If it wasn't already asked, did he answer, did the Merry Gentleman send you here? If so, what were your orders? They have answered when you said, did the Merry who sent you here, or do you work for the Merry Gentleman? They said, I work with the Merry Gentleman. And when asked what were your orders, they said, none of your business, essentially. Calm down, Fang. Next time someone looks exactly like you, maybe we can shut up about it then. Fang bites his tongue, almost literally, as they recognize your authority in this situation, but are not happy about your order there. We need to establish what all of this means for the mission. If 2 people have our abilities, that's important. If your braces were stolen, wouldn't you be having this conversation? Fang comes real close, like a foot away from your face, and says, "Not behind enemy lines where people can fucking hear us." Here's a point, though. We should move on for now. Get back to questioning later. Apis gets close behind your ear and says, "I'll cut to the chase, pal. Anything you can do, I can do better." And then they walk on and say, "Right, come on, people. We've got a lot of distance to cover." And then continues on out of here, out of melee, as it were, with you, and continues on through the forest. We have information given to us that has a very limited shelf life. Yeah. Breaks out a musical number, harmonizing with herself. Whispers to the others, "Pineapple." Fang nods, gives you a glance. Let's roll you an insight check. 16 plus your insight of 2. You pick up from Fang's look there that they are. It says a lot, and it's a sort of say he's saying this is an inconvenience. We can kill him later. Is kind of the look you get. So you continue on a little longer until eventually your pass without a trace will start to come to an end, and we're going to need to go into a skill challenge. So how this is going to work the rest of the journey to the mountain. You are going to go into a skill challenge. Skill challenges, when you're doing overworld travel in my games, exploration in my games, we sort of abstract the dangers that you can face on the way. The journey, the distance and everything is the time that it takes can be as a result of what your skill challenge gets. So the worse you roll, the longer the journey takes, the more challenges you have to actually encounter. But if you roll really well on the first few, you can actually cut down and you actually don't need to do as many, those sorts of things. So we're going to start with Apis. You first, you're going to tell me one thing, one challenge, one skill, one obstacle, one problem that you face, and then give me an idea of how you want to overcome it. We're going to summarize that in the form of a single roll, a single skill application. So this could be you encounter monsters and you decide to stealth around them. It could be that you encounter a terrain difficulty where something is blocking your path and you use athletics to get it off of to get it out of the way. Or it could be that your morale of the team seems a little low after the infighting and bickering, and so you do something performative or tell a story or something, like you address the morale with your charisma. Or there's all sorts of things you could do to try and decide. You're going to help me with the storytelling, essentially, where this is a really collaborative element of my games when I do skill challenges. We're going to come up with what the problem is together as we go. And then one at a time, we're going to go through all of the party members that you have with you in the SWAT team, and we're going to do a skill challenge for each of them. And then as a group, if you all roll above the DC, essentially, for your respective skill challenges, then you've done a great job. If none of you do, then you've done as bad as you possibly can. And if some of you fail and some of you succeed, then respectively, it depends. That might take into account like how long the journey is going to take and damages that you face, and if you arrive at your destination missing a few hit points or things like that. Cool, got it? All right, so Apis, what skill do we want to use and what are we overcoming? Apis is really good at finding pits. We help the others to avoid the pits. A terrain difficulty, we need to make sure we're heading in the right direction. That could work really well for a ranger with survivals and your forest bonus.
Use survival to find out exactly where we are. Remember where the portal is that we've seen from our visions. Demon tracks, survival, that sounds good. Alright, so a lot of people saying survival is a good idea. Knowledge of the forest to watch out for the pits, go the long way around them, avoid the pits. Yeah, alright. That seems like we're all pretty much on the same page there. Apis, you are taking the lead of the SWAT team. You move your way to the front of the group where the fake Apis is trying to pretend like they're Apis and lead the group. And you actually take charge and you say, look, whatever enjoyment you're getting from pretending to be me, let's not let it ruin the mission. I am the one in charge and I do know this forest better than you because I've been blah blah blah, I've been using my portal magic, yada yada. You convince them to let you go ahead, and then you are going to roll a survival check to see how well you can get through the forest here. So before we roll, you have proficiency in survival, which gives you a +3. Survival is a wisdom based thing in this scenario, so that would be a +2. And then you get forest bonus, which gives you a +3 again. You double your proficiency bonus for uses of survival because you're a ranger that is proficient in forest and you're in forested terrain. So you have a +8 to your survival check. I will say that because, let's set the DC now, because you are behind enemy lines in a demon-infested forest, it is almost a hellscape rather than a forest, so the forest bonus is still applicable, but only just. So I'll just raise the DC from that. I'll say that there's a lot more danger to this forest than there would be in a regular forest, so that takes into account like how much of your attention is on other things too. So the DC is relatively high. You've never been to this part of the forest, so the DC there is pretty high. Okay, I'm going to set the DC and we're going to roll it as in all things in my games, especially survival, especially skill checks and stuff. It's not a set DC of like a single number is a success and anything under that's a failure. It's more of a sliding scale, but I have a number in mind now as sort of the target number that we're aiming for. And then just underneath it means that you're going to succeed with difficulties, I'd say. Okay, let's go to the dice cam. That is a 7. A 7 plus 8 is a 15 total. You have a hero point from starting every session. You always start a session with a hero point. If you want to use it now, you can. It's up to you. I'll also say, just while we're here, you've got Second Wind that you haven't used yet, by the way, which would replenish 1d10 plus your level in fighter, so 3. 1d10 plus 3 hit points if you wanted to. You're currently at 69 nice hit points. So, thumbs up, thumbs down, yes or no. Do we want to use our hero point to reroll a 7 and hope for something more than 7? 15 is the number you've currently got. Okay, so far an overwhelming no. We are going to stick with the 15. I'm guessing that Rob would set the DC higher than a 15 for this. 15 ain't great, but somebody else could be hella. That's a good point, Wraith, but keep in mind that I only really allow your hero points to influence your rolls. So if Fang fucks up his part of this skill challenge and gets a nat 1, you can't use a hero point to reroll that. Alright, so no to the hero point. We'll call that. You're not going to use the hero point, you're going to go with your 15. And then the other question is, do you want to use your Second Wind? You can get that back by having a short rest, which is about half an hour of sit down in my games. But do you want to use Second Wind? Thumbs up, thumbs down. You would regain a d10 plus 3 hit points. Save that hero point for another worse roll in case we get ambushed or something. Yeah, that makes sense. Alright, overwhelming yeses for using the Second Wind. So as you walk, you try to calm yourself. You find that the anxiety and the fear of being in such a dangerous situation is kind of getting to you, especially the adrenaline has now like fully reset to a usual level from being stabbed in the back by somebody and almost ambushed by 70 plus gnolls. It was a very dangerous situation, probably the most dangerous situation you've been in a long time, probably since Lucifreak. And so you managed to just kind of like, you find a moment of calm. There's so much going on for you. There's a person directly pretending to be you right behind you, and there's so much. So you just kind of still your mind. You get that gift that was given to you by the gods the gift of serenity and being able to find in a moment's notice the serenity of putting yourself back at that oasis, Flonenshale's oasis of healing. You find yourself there in your mind just temporarily for a split second. You find yourself in a meditative place. You find that level of calm. You regain some stamina. I will roll you a d10 to see how many hit points you recover from that. 8. Good. 8 plus 3 is 11 hit points. So you get your 11 hit points back, taking you from 69 nice to 80. And you recovered almost to full on your hit points. You're still low on your spells at the moment. You've got 2 level 1 spell slots and 1 level 2 spell slots. But you have got your second wind used. We should do stealth as the base for our thing next time. With Pass Without a Trace, we'll get plus 1,000,000. Yeah, it would have been very good stealth. But you did survival instead. So, thinking. At this point, your Pass Without a Trace would run out anyway. And you got a 15 on your survival. 15 survival is good. It's above average. For you, it's below average. You know, you could be doing a better job, probably because of all the difficulties I mentioned, of like you being behind enemy lines in a place of the forest you've never seen before, and a lot of these trees being like decrepit and gross and clearly influenced by the demonic energies of this area, turning gnarled and twisted and dripping some sort of black goo rather than sap. There's parts of the forest that don't look natural, and you're not enjoying it. So it's throwing you off a little bit, but you're still able to continually pause, find clearings in the canopy to be able to see the mountaintop and know the direction you're going, and keep heading in that direction. Keep a track on tracks on the ground to make sure that you know how recently some demons passed through the area, and so you're not going to run into them, that sort of stuff. I'll say that yes, Sawyer Boy, as soon as the Pass Without Trace runs out on you, Oath, you turn around and see Oath casts Pass Without a Trace, and they do so in a way that allows you to see what it looks like from other people's perspective when you do this. Like there's somebody playing with a dimmer switch. It goes darker and lighter and darker and lighter, but it gets darker and darker and darker overall. It gets lighter, but not by the same amount as which it got darker, until eventually, after just a couple of seconds of casting it, you are surrounded by shadow, and everything quietens and deadens. Does Oath have all of their spell slots the same as Apis? You don't share spell slots with Oath. Oath is their own being, their own creature. With all that said, did we succeed? You won't find out. You have to infer that from what I'm saying. However, at this point, the camera zooms out of you and your group as you continue on towards this skill challenge, and we whiz across the canopies at alarming rates until we eventually settle down below the canopy on a group of hobgoblins. And we are going to cut away to what your allies are doing in this moment and whether they're succeeding with their mission. Remember that the allies had their own missions to distract the enemies, to try and close the mini portals, to keep the enemy forces coming towards you as much as possible. And the hobgoblins, you see, as they are fighting, they are in an all-out battle. At the front lines, there are arrows being flung from behind. There are people with javelins and spears and pikes, and they are fighting a bunch of creatures known as dretchers. They are demons that are one of the footmen, the frontline en masse demons that the plane of abyss churns out. The hobgoblins are fighting these dretchers, and are they succeeding? That is down to a roll from you guys. So I will say we're going to do a d20 roll. And do we want to add anything to it? I'll give you the chance to think about everything that we have discussed about the hobgoblins when we met them in previous episodes. And you tell me if there's anything you think that would give them some sort of advantage or some sort of benefit or bonus against these dretchers. And if you can convince me, I will add a respective bonus to the roll. And then we will roll just a straight d20, and we want an 11 or more. Hobgoblins are allies? Yes, hobgoblins are one of the tentative allies that you have. And to be clear for you, the hobgoblins are different from the indestructibles, which are your werefolk, and they are different from the Yugoloths, and they are different from the MMs. You did not manage to recruit any humans to come this far into the journey with you. So your four distinct groups of allies are the hobgoblins, the indestructibles, the MMs, and the Yugoloths. So what's going to give them a bonus? A bonus from that recent map that we obtained from the Arcanoloth. So the information that they have from that, maybe, yeah. They're super skilled fighters with, what did Ray say there? Organised and structured. Hobgoblins are very militaristic. Their entire culture is built around military, so that might give them a bonus, yeah. We have their exact locations from the map for a surprise attack, maybe. Okay, so I'll give them a +1 from them being super organised, skilled fighters. I'm going to give them a +1 from having the map and the information that they had, so that they can get a surprise on the enemy. Hobgoblins in numbers are greater for it. The hobgoblins did have a lot of numbers. I did specify that there's a lot of different banners. They use the meat shields, which are the goblin section of the hobgoblin army. They've got the surprise guys, which was the bugbears. And then they've got a bunch of other, I think they've got some arcane casters and stuff as well. So yeah, I'll give them a +1 for the numbers. Battle experience as a group, that comes from them being like organised and militaristic, so they're already getting a +1 for that. They've been researching demons for years. No, they have not. The demons are not years old. They have been fighting demons for a while. Is that enough to give them? I feel like that's already accounted for by the No, that feels different enough. Yeah, they are a militaristic society, and they've been fighting demons specifically for longer than the other humans and stuff. So I'll give them that as another +1. Damage immunity for the were bonus. That'll be a different group. The werefolk aren't with the hobgoblins. All right, forest bonus. Okay, I think we've scraping the barrel here, so they've got a +4. So they're going to roll a d20 +4, and they need an 11 or more. Because without any bonuses, it's just a 50-50 shot of whether they're succeeding or not. Let's go to the dice cam and see if your hobgoblins are coming in. That, can you see that? That is a nat 1. That is a nat 1. What are you saying, Wraith? A bonus because they feel like it might be ending soon. This portal closing is like extra hype. I mean, sure, I'll give you that extra +1 for a 5. So 5 onto the +1 is, unfortunately, the hobgoblins are not doing well. They had the military strategy. They knew the territory. They had the extra hype of it being like this might be the final push. All the rest of it. And unfortunately, it just was not enough. The Dretchers were not as surprised as they expected. Perhaps somebody had tipped them off on the other side. Maybe the Yugoloths are not working with you. Who knows? Whatever it was, you see the camera sees as the hobgoblins are fighting with ferocity and military might and strategy, and they're even working in like two lines, kind of like the Romans often was said to do. Like the front lines are blocking attacks and then ducking backwards so that the people behind them can thrust forward with spears and pikes, and then they come back and the people with the shields also thrust forward so that they never get like a reprieve. They're fighting with incredible strategy, but the Dretchers are just not going down. They're taking way more of a beating than any humans would, any mortal creatures would. They're able to be torn apart. They're literally slicing off limbs and chunks. They're digging direct attacks with the spearheads right into the Dretchers' chests, and then they're just not seemingly caring that their blood and ichor is just going everywhere. The Dretchers also hurting the hobgoblins every time that they're attacked themselves, because just of their acidic and vile vitriolic blood, their ichor is splashing out on them and burning away their shields and weapons. The Dretchers are just too numerous, and unfortunately the hobgoblins are forced to start to retreat. So as the camera sees this failure of the hobgoblins' part, the camera zooms back, comes back to us, and we are going to take one of our party. We'll go with Fang next. Oh, actually, no, I'll put it to you guys. Who do you want to go next? We've got Fang, we've got Minnie, we've got Apus, we've got Mel, I suppose, could do one. Let's see. Do I want Mapus? No, we'll just keep it at a 4. Mel can assist with one person's group, one person's thing, I suppose. But we've got Fang, Mini, and Apus. Oh, and Mosh. I forgot Mosh. So we'll go with Mosh as well. Fang, Mini, Apus, and Mosh. Go with Fang next. Fang. Couple of people saying Mini. Put thumbs up for Fang. Put thumbs down for Mini. Who do we want to do next? Thumbs up for Fang. All right, we're going to do Fang next. So, what does Fang offer to the skill? I'll let you guys decide. Even though he's an NPC, we're a skill challenge, and it's your game, so you're going to help me out with the collaborative storytelling. To give you an idea, in case you're not as familiar with who Fang is a blue dragonborn who has a bionic eye, a bionic arm. He is an artificer that has lost a lot of body parts in various fights throughout his life. He's had a very hard life, but he's an incredible fighter. He's got levels in fighter, he's got levels in ranger with fiends as a favoured enemy. He has a mountain as one of his favoured enemy as well, so as you leave your favoured terrain in the forest, Fang will be entering his on the mountain. Fang also has levels in Artificer, so he understands about magic and the fundamentals of how it works and such. So what are we going with? Artificer, Ranger, and Fighter. Can he use his bionics for something? He could move a fallen tree from our path with his big bionic arm, maybe. He's very knowledgeable about demons. That's Fancy has a point there. Of all of the people in your party, Fang knows way more about demons than anybody else. So if maybe you want to do a knowledge check or something, or something that uses his knowledge of demons, perhaps. He's great with demons as well as being a ranger. He'd probably be able to tell about the nature of what's going on around here. Fang could use his intelligence to know the fiends and tactics. Tactics, yeah, like predicting the tactics of the fiends and what you're likely to encounter. That could help. We see a strange creature. We don't know if it's a demon or some harmless forest dweller, and he has to identify it, maybe. Fang uses his demon knowledge to something. I like that. He's surely smart as an artificer. He is, yeah. Knowledge checks to make sure we're not walking into ambush. Perception, investigations. Picking the best route to avoid the demons. You've already done that with survival. Can he do something to help them know they might need some magic to really hurt these demons? Like Arcana check, perhaps? Is he proficient in intelligence checks? He's proficient in a couple of the intelligence checks, yeah. I'm not going to give you his character sheet or say what he's proficient in until you decide what he's going to do. But I will tell you he is proficient in some of the intelligence checks. And I'm not going to dick you over and choose something that he's got a negative modifier for or anything. Understands how we can use the weather, wind direction, sun position, etc. to be less visible. He would understand some of that as a ranger, but you're a much better ranger than he is. You've got more levels in ranger than he is. I like the idea of the using Arcana to understand something about the demons, and then depending on what we roll, we'll flavor it a little more. So it's going to be an Arcana check. Okay. Arcana check for Fang, and I will roll this one in front of the screen, as it were. So let me see Fang's abilities. Where is it? Copernicus, Light Fang. There you are. He's 5 levels in Artificer, 5 levels in... Oh, he is the same levels as you in Ranger. He's a 5-level Ranger. 5-level Artificer, 5-level Ranger, 2-level Fighter. His highest scores, I'll tell you, are Dexterity and Intelligence, followed by Wisdom closely, and then he's got a low Charisma. Probably why he yelled at you before. Alright, so using his Intelligence there, we're going to go with this plus his modifier, which at this level is a +4. Yeah, so he's got a +4 proficiency bonus, so he's got a 7 there. It is his favoured enemy. Can somebody remind? Have we got a command there for favoured enemy? Because I always forget with rangers what favoured enemy actually gives you advantage on things to recall information about them. Right? Gives them advantage, I think. Classes. Favoured enemy. You have advantage on checks made to track them and intelligence checks to recall information about them. Yes, advantage. Gives them advantage. Thank you, Sparrow. So he will roll with a +7 and advantage because he's doing an Arcana check to recall information about his favoured enemy, Fiends. Let's go. That's not bad. That is a nat 1, but that is a 16. 16 plus 7, 23. Okay, so with a 23, Fang recalls information. Let's see how this is going to play out then. He is going to manage to avoid some traps, as you are the one focused on survival. That is the weather patterns, staying downwind from any monsters so they don't smell you. Keeping your shadows from causing attracting attention, all like little subtleties like that. Avoiding any fresh tracks, not getting lost, avoiding falling into pit traps, all that stuff. So you're focused on that stuff. He's focused on the creatures that you're coming across specifically. He's the one who's looking out for any sounds of that's not a demon, don't worry about it, or that could be a demon, let me stop and listen. Yeah, that definitely sounds like demon. Everybody fucking hide. You'll stop and hide as like some sort of hideous vulture-headed bird creature thing will just fly past. And he waits for it to be gone. He goes, hold on, wait. Often there'll be 2 in 1, and then sure enough, 2 more fly past like moments later, and it's knowledge of how they move in packs and things that allow you to avoid being detected. He also uses his Arcana to know what's happening to the trees around, like the almost like is it emulsification? Is that the right process? There's something happening with these trees that's a chemical process that's obviously happening, and he tells you that this isn't a problem, and if we deal with the demons, this will return to normal as over time. It will take some time, but it will eventually return to normal. He tells you all sorts of stuff, and don't touch this bit. Stay away from that pool of black stuff, because that'll reach out and grab you if you get too close. All sorts of things. He does very well with the 23. With the 23, he succeeds, and you manage to get closer and closer to the mountain portal. The camera once again whips back through the trees, this time not above the canopy. Miles it seems to move until eventually it gets to... Who shall we go to next? We'll go to the Indestructibles. As you see, the Indestructibles, these are the Werefolk. Carlin is the leader, a Werefox. There are a couple other Werefoxes. Let me tell you exactly who there are. Let me explain what they are. We have Indestructibles. They are made up of Kane, who is a werewolf, Peter, who is a werewolf, Suzanne, who is a werewasp. You see this woman with the sort of blonde streaks and the darker hair. She starts to fly as these wings burst out of her back, and her abdomen grows out, elongates, and turns into a stinger. We have Carlin, who is a werefox with the ginger, muscular, unkempt face with leathery skin and big bushy beard. She turns into this like feral-looking fox. You have David, who turns into a werecrow. He's very sly and sprightly, darker-haired gentleman with a sharp beak-like nose, which splits open his face as a beak protrudes out from it as he flies forwards, big crow wings extending from his arms. You have Christopher, who is a were-snake. You see his head as he's rushing forwards into this clearing to encounter these demons. His head seems to split backwards. The top half of his head, like a big Joker smile, erupts outwards. His head seems to roll backwards, and this snake pulls out of his body. Giant snake slithers forwards. And you've got Ronald, who is another werewolf. An older man. You know him as the farmer. Wearing ragged, torn clothes, whistling the farmer in the dell. He tears at his own skin, degloving his own arms as these hairy wolf arms come out of it. His teeth burst out of his face. And they rush forwards to encounter Ronald McDonald. I think you got it, Fancy. Well done. Ronald the farmer is amused myself when I named him after Ronald McDonald, because old MacDonald had a farm. They rush forward to encounter the demons that they are encountering. Who are they encountering? Oh, they are. This is a fun one. They are encountering the Kazmes and the Vrox, the weird vulture-headed thing that you just saw fly past you. You see some more of them attacking the Indestructibles. The Kazmes are these weird bug-like creatures. I didn't even intend this, but with a very side-by-side comparison, you see the were-wasp fly forwards towards this Kazmir that looks very similar in its bug-like appearance with this humanoid face. But Kazmirs have this long proboscis that they'll try and stab into you as well. As they stab together, the proboscis on the front of the Kazmir trying to stab into the were-wasp, the were-wasp's sting on the other one trying to stab into the body of the Kazmir. They form this sort of antithesis of a yin and yang, this disgusting, mutated, alienish, demonic yin and yang trying to stab each other from one end or the other, and both of them having a hard time doing so because of the resistances or immunities to piercing damage that each of them has. So, back to you guys. What do we do for the Indestructibles? What bonuses do they get? Why would I give them pluses or minuses to their attacks, and how they're doing? Susan, Carlin, David, Christopher, Ronald, and who did I miss? What were they? I'll tell you again. They were Mosh, Kane, and Peter. Those are the good ones, the ones that were turned during the Halloween episode. Then we've got Suzanne, who's kind of neutral, and then the evil ones are Carlin, David, Christopher, and Ronald. His war cry is E-I-E-I-O. No, his war cry is... +1 for Indestructible. Absolutely. They are immune to non-magical damage, so I'll actually give them a +2 for that because it seems so significant. I would have given them a +1 if they're resistant, +2 for immune. They're indestructible, duh, +12. I did think about that high tech, and I looked at the Kazmir and the Vrox stat blocks earlier. Kazmirs have a droning ability that they and it can turn you crazy, which doesn't account for you being it's not counted by you being indestructible. And Vrox have like a spore ability that can poison you and do some stuff, so they can still be hurt by these monsters, just not directly by non-magical attacks. So the +2 is accounting for them being immune to the physical damage, but they can still be beaten, defeated by these monsters. Being useful might be their only chance to be more accepted in society, so they're fighting for a better future for themselves. Good question. Good attempt. Let me think. Unfortunately, I'm not going to accept that because the majority of the Indestructibles is made up of evil folk who are perfectly happy living on the edges of society and murdering people for their own gain. If you want to know more about the Indestructibles, at least Callan, David, Christopher, and Roland, go and check out the Halloween episode from 2022. Available on my YouTube. So they've got a +2 from being indestructible. What else? Carlin will kill them himself if they lose. Maybe. Kane and Peter are what, wolf? Yeah, Kane and Peter are werewolves. They're trained. They have a lot of experience with fighting, and fighting dirty as well. So yeah, I'll give them +1 for that. They are used to fighting among whatever tactics they need to survive. I don't want to give Callan more motivation to come after us, but he wants more of our money, and he can't do that if he dies out here. That's extra motivation to win. No, I think motivation to not die is enough to not die. +1 for just being an extra badass team. I mean, they're pretty cool, but that's not going to give them a +1. The werewolves can sniff out the enemy in advance. I'll expand on that HS and say the werewolves have keen sense. The werecrow, I think, has keen sight. And they probably all have, and the weresnake would have the Jacobson's organ, which gives them, like, you can taste the air. So between them, they've got, because of the variety of different were creatures that make them up, they have a lot of different senses that would help in the fight. So yeah, I'll say that they're covering each other's niches. Some of them better at scent, hearing, sight, that sort of stuff. So I'll give them a +1 for that. +2 from intimidation. +2 from indestructible. +1 from experienced in dirty fighting. A +1 from the senses. Bonus on bloodlust. They don't just fight them, they eat them. If they were fighting regular creatures, I'd consider giving them +1 for that. But they are fighting demons with blood, with ichor for blood, that can, like, poison and damage and acid burn you away and stuff. So they ain't going to be eating these creatures. They enjoy the slaughter, so they're probably good at it. That's accounted for in the dirty fighting plus that we've already got. They also have the map information. Yeah, they are going off of map information, and they are a subsection of the Hobgoblin banners. So yeah, I'll give them the map information +1. So we've got a +5 so far. Pack tactics. Maybe. Let me look up the Vrock and the Casimir one more time and see if either of them have anything in their stat blocks that specify that they're good at working together. I know that they're demons, so they're not generally good at working together. Clear all filters. Yes, we're looking for fiends. I'm looking for a Casimir. Casmirs, let's have a look. Description. The loathsome demon resembles an unspeakable crossing of humanoids and flies. Casmirs shuffle about on four spindly legs that can find purchase on walls and ceilings. A droning sound precedes the approach of them, inflicting foes with a terrible lethargy that leaves them open to attack. The lowly Casmirs serve more powerful masters as interrogators and taskmasters. They live to dole out torture as punishment. They have a knack for spotting demons that have deserted their lords. Capturing such traitors allows Casmirs to torment the victims without fear of reprisal. Nothing about them like being particularly good at working together. Let's have a look at the Vrocks. Vrock. Vrocks are dull-witted, which goes in their favour. Capricious fiends that live only to create pain and carnage. They resemble a giant hybrid of humanoid and vulture, gnarled bestial body and broad wings stinking of offal. They gobble humanoid flesh whenever they can, stunning potential prey with an ear-splitting shriek, swooping down to attack with beak and claw. They can release toxic spores from their wings, and they covet pretty things, turning against each other for the chance to lay claim to cheap jewellery. So that's specifically against their ability to work together. So yes, I'll say the pack tactics thing can go for your bonus here. We'll give them a +1, so we're up to a +6. I think they're going to do pretty well, but they could always roll 4 or less. Bloodlust, totally. Yeah, so we've got this bonus, the map bonus, the keen senses, the bloodlust. I think, yeah, we're up to a +6, and I think bloodlust is accounted for in their experience with dirty fighting. Unexpected bonus because they started out looking human. Ooh, that's actually an interesting thing. Like the element of surprise on the Vrocks and the stuff. They run into the clearing. The Vrocks and the Casmirs are like, fuck yeah, humans, let's fuck them up. And then they rush forwards and they turn into something else. Yeah, fuck it, I'll give you that. We're up to a +7. I think we're good. +7, and we're scraping the barrel with the rest of the suggestions here. So I'll just roll it with a +7. Here we go. Fucking kidding me. Jesus Christ. We were really helping them out as much as we could there, and I got a 2. Hey, it's double what the Hobgoblins got. We got a nat 1 for the Hobgoblins +5. We got a nat 2 +7. So unfortunately, plus forest, it's a win, right? Plus forest bonus. Unfortunately not, no. We're going to die. It's when we're skipping out on debt to Callan. Yeah, yeah, Callan's going to die to some rock or something, I guess.
I guess these demons brought silver. Yeah. So how does this work? I think they are doing very well. They're doing much better than the other one was with a 6. They're doing a 9. 9 is much closer to 11, but unfortunately it's still a failure ultimately. So they are so much for episode 100. Hey, you're going to still make it. Whether your allies or not make it and survive the battle, that's unfortunately being determined now. But whether you make it to your mission and succeed, that's another story. Maybe episode 100 finishes with you succeeding your mission, and then all of next arc of the campaign is you then having to clean up all of the smaller portals that your allies failed to do. I don't know. To be honest, I'm not upset if they all died. Yeah. You've still got 2 more ally groups that we're going to get to, so don't worry. The fight is ferocious, and we see lots of close-ups of biting and scratching, and the snake trying to swallow the back end of a Casme hole, and there's a were-wasp that one of the Vroks is it's screeching and kind of stun locks some of the were creatures, and it looks like it's about to come down and like tear out some throat or something, and the were-wasp comes in and just right through the back of the head with a stinger. Gosh. But as it goes down, the stinger gets lodged and it kind of rolls over it like Aragorn underneath the warg, is it? No, am I thinking of somebody else? Gimli under the warg. The were-wasp's kind of getting crushed. There's a lot of stuff happening, and we start to see the turning tide in the demon's favour. There is the Casmes are retreating and realising that their bites and scratching is not going down, so they're retreating back and then just amplifying and increasing the droning sound, which can drive the were creatures mad. The Vroks similarly have started to realise what's going on, fly above the crowd where the rest of them can't attack them. We see a snake kind of just go wee, jump up to try and grab and miss the Vrok. The Vrok flaps their wings, releases toxic spores, starts to poison and affect the bodies of the Indestructibles, and unfortunately the Indestructibles are forced to start to retreat. Does the farmer go down? I'm not going to outright tell you if any of the allies have perished yet. This is a teaser of what's going on elsewhere in the wood, in the forest. We are abstracting it at this stage, and then we will decide how many casualties there have been later. Yeah, I know. Old MacDonald had a neck wound. Yeah, I know. Of all the creatures, the snake tried to get the flying enemy. Yeah, I thought that would be funniest. Marsh can use their smell for something instead of stealth, maybe, since Mini should be huge score on stealth, being invisible at least. Yes. All right. So the camera whips back through the forest, back towards you and your group. Apis, it's back to you. We have Mini, Apus, the fake Apis, and Mosh. What do you want to do? If any of the things that you try to do makes sense for Mel to help with, I might give you advantage because of her help, because she's not really a character in herself enough to take part of this skill challenge, but she can assist. Mini's a nice easy one, just do some stealth shit. The snake slingshotting through the air like an errant ribbon is hilariously visual, yeah. Alright, seems like we're all pretty much on the same page. We're going to go to Mini next, and it's going to be stealth, right? Mini's got a whole bunch of benefits for stealth. At this point, the fake Apus's pass without a trace has worn off, and so Mini uses her pass without a trace as well. Scouting out the area with stealth, we're going to get a plus 10 from the pass without a trace, and then Wraith, do you have Mini's stat block open? For those who don't know, Wraith played Mini in a private game that we played a long while back. I've got her stat block somewhere, but Wraith may be able to tell me what the stealth modifier is before I can get to it. She's a level 12 Shadow Monk, I know that much, so she would have a plus 4 from that. So she'd have a plus 14, plus her stealth bonus, plus her dexterity bonus, which I think was a plus 5. I think it's a plus 19 from memory. Where the hell have I put her stat block? I think I put it in the chat with with Wraith on Discord, maybe. I haven't collated it. Pass Without a Trace just stopped. Fake Apus's Pass Without a Trace stopped. Minnie can also cast Pass Without a Trace with her key points, I think. Or she can cast Darkness with her key points. No, she can cast Pass Without a Trace, because she cast it before and then changed it to Silence and you cast it. Yeah. Stealth is a +9, plus the 10 from Pass Without a Trace is a 19. I thought it was. Okay. If she goes scouting off, we on to Pass Without a Trace. It's sort of abstracted. These skill challenges, these skill checks are abstracted versions of sort of an average of a period of time. I'm kind of loosely saying that each skill challenge is like another hour of the journey. Hence why Pass Without Trace is ending after each one. Plus she can go invisible on an action, which gives her advantage. Okay. So she gets a +19 with advantage on this roll. Let's see how she does. She could get a nat 1 and get a dirty 20. She could get a nat 1 on both of them and can still come away with a 20, which is better than your 15 survival. Let's see how she goes. That is a 12 and a 13. With a 13 plus 19, that is 32. With a 32 stealth, needless to say, that's a success on your skill challenge. Well done. I should forgot to be tracking these down on my apps. Let me actually put it on here, I think. Apus survival 15. Hobgoblins fighting dretchers 6 brackets 1 plus 5. Not 1 plus 5. Fang got a 23 on Arcana. Indestructibles got a 2 plus 7, 9. A 9 brackets. Not 2 plus 7. Minnie got a 32 on stealth. Just barely succeeded. Yeah, the DC was 32. Tracked it. You're tracking them begrudgingly. So many notes, so messy. The DC was 33. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah, we're getting better every time. Good luck beating 32, Mosh. Alright, so that is a success from Minnie, and then we're going to go to your allies again. So, you see Minnie, we get a montage. I think Minnie's stealth is best represented, shown through montage. We see her scouting ahead, as the rest of you kind of stay by, and as you're getting closer and closer to the mountains, you're very close to the mountains now, you may be like a 2-hour walk from it. You see Minnie having to duck ahead, go invisible, nip between creatures, even start to distract them with things, using her stealth to sort of tap on each other's shoulder and get them to look the wrong way, and then dart past, and then flying up and about. She can jump between shadows. She eventually comes back to you, explains the way forwards, and little by little you are making your way closer and closer, and none of the demons are any the wiser for your entire group. She's doing a great job of it. There's lots of images of her in the shadows behind trees, and sticking out of, like, I was going to say out of the hood, but there's not really like demons that would be wearing clothes necessarily. Actually, I suppose there would be, because some demons are more like succubus and humanoid-like demons. There's a couple of creatures or undead, actually, because this is a particular demon god of undeath. And so there's lots of undead zombies and zombie armies and stuff that are walking around, and you'll see Minnie like just pop out of a hood and look around, and then pop back into a hood as it shuffles past somebody else, and then she pops out of the hood and flies off to somebody else. She's
She's we see a shadowy Minnie just in darkness, just kind of like looking over something like this, looking around, and then it zooms out and she's in the ribcage of a skeleton that's just shuffling around, shuffling forwards. She's doing a very good job of scouting out the area, knowing what's around, knowing how to avoid them, knowing how to get closer and closer to the bad guys. Until eventually she shuffles back to Apis and is like, exposition cantrip. This is everything I've learned. We need to go this way. She would totes do that being Faye. Yeah, just taking a ride inside of a skeleton's ribs. Fantastic work there, Minnie. That's going to make up, because it's going to make up a lot for the average, because generally with a skill challenge, each person can fail or succeed individually, and then at the end of it, I average them all up, and I tell you whether, as a group, you succeeded or failed. Got to have fun while doing the hard work. Yeah, Minnie keeps herself amused, for sure. Let's look at the Yugoloths next, save the MM for last, because they're the coolest. Alright, sure. We will do that at your request. Let me shift the Yugoloths and the MMs around. Okay, so the camera whips back. We find ourselves jump cutting, I suppose, to the Yugoloths. The Yugoloths are part of your allies as well, very tentatively. These are a fiend as well. They are evil creatures, much like the demons are, but unlike the demons, they are neutral evil, not chaotic evil. Down in the lower planes of existence, there is lawful evil, devils, neutral evil Yugoloths, and chaotic evil demons, and they all hate each other, particularly the devils and the demons. The devils and demons have been at war for many eons, and the Yugoloths in the middle have been arms dealers to both sides. Mercenaries, swords for hire, they happily fight in this war for either side, or even for themselves sometimes when the war encroaches on their territory too much. But as long as the war isn't directly affecting them, they're happy to just fight for whoever's paying the most soul coin. And as such, with the demons starting to change their attention to the mortal realm in this particular location, the one particular Yugoloth, an Arcanoloth, I was going to say his name, but I can't remember it now, Zug something or other, he took umbrage to that and was like, hey, get back to fighting the devils so that I can keep selling you weapons and things. He wants to assist you in this moment of forcing the demons back to their regular scheduled programming. And so in this moment, at the very least, you have got a tentative alliance with an evil race of Yugoloths. There's also Robert Evil, which is just evil but with maths. Yeah. Okay, so tell me what the bonuses are that we're going to apply to the Yugoloths. It's going to be a straight D20 roll, and we need an 11 or more to succeed. So what bonuses do they get? Yugoloths have held back some information that was not on the map, so their data is even more up to date. Definitely information. They are being led by an Arcanoloth, and Arcanoloths are all about knowledge and information, so they definitely know their enemy. In fact, I'm going to give them a +2 for that. If there's anyone who knows more about demons and how demons fight than even Fang does, it would be this Arcanoloth. So I'm going to give him a +2 for that. Great organisation for the Arcanoloth, being an expert in arms dealing both sides, so maybe they're bad weapons for demons. I'll say that the Arcanoloth has provided bad information to the demons, or like managed to get behind enemy lines and sort of provide them bad weapons and things. So information on them and how they act, providing them bad information, misleading information and bad weapons. A plus for fighting them for so long. It's kind of tied in with the first +2, but it's different enough that I'll give it another +1 Sparrow. +1 for having the experience of fighting them for so long as well. No bonus, we got this, just let's roll. A +1 competence bonus for mind reading, so the Yugoloths know the plans better than the demons do. Oh, interesting. Do the Yugoloths have mind reading? And the Arcanoloth had detect thoughts, didn't he? Yeah, I'll give you a +1 for that. The Arcanoloth turning on the detect thoughts and being able to predict their behaviours a little ahead of time. So we're up to a +5 for the Yugoloths. As we have learned, a +7 was still not enough when I rolled a 2, so let's see if we can get anything else. Knowledge of their troops' movement, we've already accounted for that one. They have a long past and know individuals on the enemy side, know what they're most likely to do and counteract it before it happens. I feel like we've done that with the +2 knowledge on how the people act and experience fighting them. Oh, they managed to cause fights between the demons. So tactical use. They are tactical, are they? Isn't the Arcanoloth absolutely packing a massive army of reasonably competent troops? Not a massive army. He's got a troop of. The demons definitely have more than the Arcanoloth does, so I'm not going to give them a numbers bonus. Fuck it, yeah, they get a +1 bonus because the Arcanoloth is wearing a Displacer cloak, so he's harder to hit. Yeah, +1 bonus from a Displacer cloak. And magic items in general. Can they fight on both sides of the portal? That's a very good one, Venanzia. Very clever. I didn't think about that at all. Yeah, +1 from being able to fight on both sides of the portal equally happily. Normal for all of the other allies of yours. If the demons start to retreat and you rush through the portal to try and get to them, you're now in the demon worlds and you are going to die very quickly. Whereas for Yugolots, they can fight on both sides of the portal quite easily, quite happily. That's very clever. Selling weapons to most, they know what is effective against them and cause the most damage. Tactics for fighting them, have been fighting them a while. Is that different enough? They know specifically what. No, I'm going to say that's kind of accounted for space, but close. Intimidation, not against demons. I worked with them before. They're among the demons who want to stay friends with the Arcanoloth in exchange for something. Oh yeah, being able to make deals with the demons. Arcanoloths being able to trick them or promise them things. Maybe. Let me think. Arcanoloth being able to promise the demons, like, hey, just stop fighting and I'll give you this. Yes, that definitely feels like one Sparrow. Demons are easy to trick because they are chaotic, so they don't have a loyalty built into them. They've got fear. They're sometimes frightened into following some semblance of hierarchy at times for a limited time, but they can easily be tricked into being like, hey, why don't we try this other thing that'd be pretty fun and crazy and chaotic and would maybe get you a leg up in the ranks. So they are kind of being smart enough to trick them into stuff. That's good. I think we're scraping the barrel now. Surprise attack because they're not supposed to ever be at war with these guys. +1 surprise attack. I think that's maybe. We're gonna go with 8. It feels like we're scraping at this point. Okay. I missed a suggestion that could have potentially explained why the others have been doing so bad. Whoever said it, repeat it so that I can get to it. But we're gonna do the dice roll now. So the Yugolots are rolling with a +8. I thought, oh man, I saw the 3 on that 13, and I really thought it was a 3. I thought we'd gone 1, 2, 3. That would have been so good. That would have been so good. All right, 13 +8. We finally beat the 11. So the Yugolots, with that surprise advantage, not expecting the attack and whatnot. And I'll say as well, I didn't actually anticipate the Yugolots to be fighting per se. I think they are doing more tricky shit behind the scenes. Some sort of bravado confidence that comes from the knowledge that they collect. They would cause an enemy to pause. Would that fall under charisma? Yeah, something like that. We got it anyway. We got it. Story-wise, the ones that attacked head-on lost, and the one that used misdirection won. Correct. Yeah, that's good. I like that. If the Yugolots know the Hobgoblins' troops' movement, they could use that to their advantage by using the other companies as distractions. Yeah, probably. That's a good in-character reason as to what's happened with the Hobgoblins and the Indestructibles. The Yugolots have been like, hey, by the way, hey, demons, there's some Hobgoblins that are going to be attacking for you over here, and maybe they've played both sides as a way of using distractions even more. Because as the Yugolots being evil, they would have no qualms about collateral damage and throwing dozens and dozens of Hobgoblin lives away, because they'd be like, yeah, if it achieves the goal, we win. On the same side doesn't mean they're good. They're definitively not good. They are the epitome of evil. They are unable to be anything other than evil. So the Yugoloths, we see them approaching. We see the Arcanoloth, in particular, the sort of coyote-headed kind of anthropomorphic gentleman in his very finery robes with a displacer cloak on it, magic items galore all over his body. We also see his small squadron of mesoloths, the insectoid six-limbed creatures with the mandibles and weapons. But the Yugoloths are fighting or defeating manes, lavas, and abyssal chickens, like smaller things, the things that are overwhelming numbers. Rather than going as straight out fighters against big things like the Vrox and stuff like that, that's more for the MMs and the Indestructibles. These guys are taking out the smaller, more numerous, more irritating. It's kind of like if you're trying to clear out a place, somebody is going to have to deal. If you're trying to clear out like a hoarder's house or something that's just like covered in all sorts of problems. You've got some of the pest control dealing with the larger things like raccoons that are in the house now. You got some of the pest control that are dealing with the medium creatures like mice and rats, and then the Yugoloths are dealing with the flies, the maggots, the infestations, the cockroaches, the stuff that's just like small, irritating, not a problem on their own, but so numerous that you have to kind of know more about your enemy in order to defeat them. And so much like pest control for an ant infestation, the Yugoloths are using their knowledge of the enemy to know where their nests are, essentially, to know where the portals are, using their up-to-date information on where the portals are and stuff to put an end to them. They are misdirecting them. They're offering them false deals if they do this thing or that thing. They're coming with them back through to the other side, being like, no, you don't want to be here. The fight where you want to be is on this side, and like leading them back through the portals and being like, you see that mountain over there that's like bleeding? Yeah, go to the bleeding mountain. At the top of that mountain there's another portal, and then you go through there, and if you kill somebody on that side you get an instant promotion to Pit Fiend. And they're just completely just lying to them, and then the demons are going, oh, thanks for the information, and then running off back into the abyssal plane and all that sort of shit. So they're not necessarily fighting them so much as just... And then some of them, they're just like turn around and, oh, you see that thing over there? Stab them. They're much cleverer about it, hence the success. So Yugoloths got a total of, what was it? 13 plus, so it's 21. 21 brackets... Nat 13 plus 8. Blood War this way. So they're just sticking up Blood War this way. Suddenly I had the impression of like Looney Tunes with the rabbit season, duck season stuff with Daffy Duck and Donald, and then Daffy Duck and Bugs Bunny. They put up like demon season, and they're like, oh, the demons come through, and they're like, oh god, it's demon season here. People are hunting us. We shouldn't come through. Very cartoony. Okay. The camera comes back to you and your group. We're an hour further into the territory now. You can now see the mountain. You are starting to get into mountainous terrain. As for forest bonus, I'm afraid you don't get forest bonus anymore because the area you're in barely counts as forest anymore. The plants around you barely even are recognizable as trees. But you are now in the foothills of mountain territory, which is where Fang starts to excel in his rangery abilities too. Free human roast this way. Yeah, they start to use magic like prestidigitation to make smells of cooking human long pork. Just send the demons in different directions. Okay, so we're getting barely forest bonus, mountain bonus. So we're back to you. You have 2 allies left to go. We've got Apus and we've got Mosh. Fake Apus and Mosh. What are they going to attempt? Which one's going to be next? Oaf turns into a tree to give us forest bonus. Oaf is the 3rd tree in the nativity play. Look, Mum, I'm a tree. Mosh, because we trust him more than Apus. Leave Mosh till last, Fancy says, but a lot of people say Mosh. Gives thumbs up for Mosh, thumbs down for Apus. Which one do we want to do next? Mosh or fake Apus? He turns into an undead hill giant tree. Nice. Looks like Mosh. Oaf is overpowered as fuck. Yeah, he is pretty powerful. Most people say Mosh, so Mosh is it. Alright. Mosh is next. What are we going to do for Mosh? To remind people who don't know Mosh, he is a he is sort of a hermity kind of a background, a traveller or an outlander background, I'll say, more than hermit. He's spent a lot of time on the land. He's not a ranger. He doesn't have class levels. He's just a werefox. He's very good at defending himself. He's been in skirmishes individually. He was a part of the Indestructibles until he kind of saved him a bit. He can turn into a werefox. He has keen sense when he does so, keen smells and things. He's also got boots of stealth. Well, thank you for the reminder there, Fancy. He's got boots on that give him extra stealth, but we've already done stealth with Mini, so probably not. He's a farmhand. He's kind of an odd jobs guy, like a bit handy with a bit of everything. So what's he gonna offer to the skill challenge here? How's Mosh with animal handling? Very good. Mosh is good with animals. Although I'll tell you, there's barely any beasts, any real life beasts in this area anymore. You're right towards the heart of the demon territory. Demons have been pouring through this area for months, if not years, and they've slaughtered everything that existed in this part of the land. So animal handling won't work here, unless you can come up with a reason why it would. Maybe he could fight something and silence it without getting hurt. Yeah, that could work. I could roll a quickness check of some kind, like an initiative check would be a skill check for him, or like a strength check or something. I could roll something to sort of abstract him being able to silence a creature really quickly. Perception would be a good one, sniffing out the demons, avoiding them. There's a lot of things in this skill challenge that are about avoiding and getting past demons. I'd like a little more, something a little more creatively thinking, like what's an obstacle that's in our path other than just avoiding demons. He's not great with animal handling. The horses didn't like him. That's a good point. Horses didn't like him specifically, but I think he's good with other animals generally. But I might be mistaken. Can't remember exactly. As a werefox, get out into the open without attracting attention from the demons. Look like a fox from afar. Demons would definitely kill foxes. There's no real animals in this area. Demons are here to kill and destroy as much as they can. They enjoy killing whatever it is. Obscure hour tracks with fox tracks, maybe. Maybe a demon camp had animals locked up. They could release and hunt when they got bored. Mush could run into one of them and have to persuade it to let us pass. Could be, but the animal wouldn't really need persuading to let you pass if that was the case. I think the best suggestion so far has been the Mosh kills something quick. Mosh is an indestructible, as he can't take physical damage easily, not without it being silvered. He's also quite stealthy, especially with the boots on, and he can be relatively unassuming as a fox until he gets close enough. So I think a lot of his abilities kind of tie to him getting close to something that is on guard, as it were, and then finishing it off. So we will roll that with an abstract. Is it just going to be an attack roll for him? I think that makes sense. We'll use his attack modifier. And then I'll give him... Do I give him advantage because of stealth? Being able to... We've already used stealth. He's got the boots, though. I'll give him a +1 as on top of it. So he's got a +8. So we're just going to do this as an abstracted thing with a +8 on the attack bonus here. I'll say, okay, I'll give you the option. This is something that Mel could give him advantage on. So Mel could help him. Like Mel could sort of rest on him as he gets closer, and then she can, as he strikes, she can stab. And so either Mel can help with this one, or she can help with the fake Apis one the next time, whatever that is going to be. So do we want to use Mel on this one for advantage, or do we want to use Mel on the Apis one? I don't want fake Apis going with Mel. Fair enough. So we use Mel on this one. Okay. So we will give him advantage from Mel attacking with him, and so advantage and a +8. Okay, here we go. Nat 1 and an 18. So the 18 plus 8, 26. So we went with Mosh next. And we're going to go with fake Apis last. And Mosh got a And 18, what was it? 18 plus 8, so 26. 26 attack. Okay, nice. Mel is too confused by the two apices and now hangs out with Mosh for the sake of her brain. I was really hoping we'd somehow beat a 32. That would be good. With a net 20 plus 8, unfortunately, is not going to be enough there. 26 is very good. So you got a 15, Fang got a 23, Minnie got a 32, Mosh got a 26. So the average is going to be very good. Apis is bringing down the average, mate. Fucking pull your weight, Apis. 15. Psh, what's this 15? Apis is the leader, scored the lowest by far. Yeah. Saving the 20s for later. Yeah. Saving the 20s for later. That's all it is. So Mosh, what is it that he sneaks up on and slaughters in one go? Let's look at some fiends and have a gander at what he's clambering up on. If anybody's got any suggestions, I'm willing to take them. Let's look at fiends and then advanced filters. Filter by demon specifically. It could be some sort of demon. It could be some sort of undead as well. It might be like a smart undead, like a white. Not as smart as like a vampire, because he isn't taking down a vampire on his own. But maybe he could take out a white or a wraith or something. I don't know. It could be an undead. It could be a demon. Let's filter by that and see how we've got. And then let's go down to challenge rating. I think he takes out, for it to be interesting and exciting, I think he takes down at least a challenge rating 5. An undead ogre would be pretty cool. What's going to look coolest? Excuse me. Fake Apis does the same check that we did, just does it better. that would be very funny. I reckon an invisible demon he smelled. He has a keen sense of smell, and we wouldn't want that reporting back. Yeah. Succubus takes down a succubus, maybe. I like undead ogre. Just Orcus. He takes down Orcus on his own from a single roll with advantage. Easy. War's over. What happened to the monster that Minnie chased after, the one that ran off? Good question. What was that monster? What was the circumstances? The one that Minnie chased after. Oh, the one that Minnie ran off to Minglofau to warn them that there was something. Oh yes, that one. Yes, perfect, Fancy. That's a good chance. We'll wrap up that story. Did I want to do anything else with that monster, or do I kill him now? No, he served his purpose. He was going to be another plot, another potential not character arc, another plot device. But you chose to. Circumstances dictated that he didn't end up being used all that much. It's called a, what is that thing called? What the hell was it called? It can turn into a goblin, and it destroys goblins, and it eats goblins' souls and like lives on them. Barghest. Yeah, the Barghest. Would Barghest fit in this situation? Yeah, I think so. I think that's fitting. I like that. Yeah, okay, so the Barghest, a few episodes ago, we saw this like canine wolf-like quadrupedal creature devouring 2 goblins almost whole, and then after it devours them, it can become them, and we were able to warn them, hey, there's a goblin amongst your midst who's a shape-changing demon, and we must deal with him. I think Mosh then in this circumstance comes across, as he's like, as we're scouting, Mosh comes across a, in fact, let's say we all do, as a party, as the SWAT team, we come across some sort of cracking and in the forest, and Fang is like, gets us all quiet. Minnie casts the pass without a trace again, maybe, whatever, something like that, and then we see a goblin walking out of the forest, and immediately all of us are like, there's no goblins in this area. Not only that, but the goblin turns towards us and looks as we see them with no teeth and a prosthetic leg. They look like Crack, the goblin that tried to stab us, and we definitively killed and left in the forest way back behind us. And instantly we realize this is something that can shapeshift into goblins specifically after eating them. This Barghest probably came across the body of Crack that we left out in the open and just devoured it, changed into it, and is now using it as a disguise, has seen us and was like, oh, maybe I can trick these guys into thinking I'm on their side. So sure enough, as he walks forward, he says, oh, thank goodness you're here. I'm in real trouble. I don't know how we got here, but there's demons around. You need to be very careful that there's... And he's like... Mosh, I think, takes the lead, knowing what's happening. He immediately steps forward and says, tell us exactly, point out where the area is. And the thing turns around to like point back towards the mountain, like up further towards the mountain. And as soon as he turns his back on Mosh changes his hand into that of his werewolf form. His claws come out. He reaches around the back of this guy's head, the front of his throat, and just tears the throat out. And there's a portal opening just up. And the head basically almost comes off. Mel, seeing this, just quickly jumps to action and stabs Crack right through the back, right through the spine of Crack anyway. But his form shifts into that of his true form, the Barghest. And this huge like wolf canine like thing is shifting out, making noise. What's his name? Mosh sort of like drops down his body on top of the body of this thing as it's writhing and making noise, and just keeps him from attracting attention as the Barghest dies in Ica. And then it starts to get very hot. And as Mosh realizes this, he's forced to get off because there's a lot of flame starting to burst from the body of this creature. Barghests get engulfed in flame and disappear back to whence they came. So this very quick burning flash paper of a body burns up. You quickly look around. Doesn't seem like he managed to attract any attention. Mel 2, Crack 0. Yeah. And with that, you have succeeded this particular area of the skill challenge, and the camera follows the wispy smoke up into the sky, and then it tilts back down from the sky onto the MMs. Too many things open. Close that one down. Close this one down. All right. We're on to the MMs. The MMs are your final allies. Let's see if we can give them some bonuses. For those who need reminding, the MMs are a group of mercenaries and swords for hire, essentially. The MMs, short for militant mutants, is a small squad of fighters working for the Serentile army. They're made up of mostly outcasts and weirdos. They are run by Corporal Dunwell Fisco, a male Uruk man, who is a human-dominant Uruk, mostly human but with traits of orc within him. They have Mara Gudrun, who is a cave dwarg woman, but she has something akin to something similar to the real-world acromegaly. She's got growth hormone problems and such, and so she's grown and grown and grown over her life. Although she's a dwarg, she stands about 3 meters tall. She's got very little hair on her. She cuts it short, and she's got no beard. To most non-dwarves, she appears to be a mystically tall grey female that's quite beautiful, quite attractive. But from her perspective, she doesn't know that it's a growth problem. She thinks that she's just grown as a Duragard can do so, a cave dwarf can do. They can enlarge themselves magically and then shrink back to their regular size. And she thinks it's a product of having done that too many times, and she doesn't return back to her usual size usually. Also in the MMs is Krax the Mighty. Krax is an imposing, scary warforged with a giant hammer, a booming voice, and a volatile temper. He responds with violence even to the slightest disrespect given, and always looks for a challenge to prove that he is the toughest. He has a dark secret, but nobody's worked that out yet. Moving on, we have Astar Grenarios. He is a high elf male, a battlesmith, That's an artificer that specializes in making tech creatures and mechs and robots and such. He's a battlesmith with a lizard folk-like steel defender called Gellius. He's a sage background, researcher raised by gnomes. He speaks gnomish. He doesn't speak elvish. He's got all sorts of languages. He speaks primordial. He's not strong, but he's very dexterous and intelligent. And he has an infused quarterstaff as his main melee weapon. He's interested in technologies, magic, rare creatures, and he's one of the only people who knows what Krax's dark secret is. Then we've got Kari Fireeyes Llanganathi. Kari Fireeyes Llanganathi is a non-binary Echo Knight Goliath with grey-brown skin, yellow eyes, and a long white braid with an undercut. Wears studded leather armour and carries a great axe, and is named Fireeyes for both their yellow eyes and their fierce determination. Kari's among their clan's best warriors and relishes fighting a strong enemy. They hate those who target the weak, considering it a coward's choice, and thus they have always stood up for the weak. They have claustrophobia from being trapped in a cave as a child. So those are the 4 or 5 elite warriors that make up the MMs, the mutant militants. And what they are fighting is appropriately the biggest, most toughest of the demons. They are fighting only 2 creatures that they have come across: a Tanaruk and a Balgura. Balguras are huge orangutan-like demons with long arms, very ape-like bodies. They specialize in just big crushing, smashing, punching, throwing rocks, those sorts of things. Tanaruks are where an orc army and a demon army have kind of mingled and created this orc-demon hybrid. They are, think Minotaur on abyssal steroids. They usually have huge abyssal axes and massive horns, and they can charge things and do a bunch of like slashing damage. They're both bad news as Tanaruk and Balgura. So that's what they're fighting. They're just coming head to head with these 5 versus 2. So let's say what bonuses do we have? Like the thing we once saw an illusion of. Similar. The thing we saw an illusion of was more like a gorillan with 4 arms. Maybe the captain can use his orcish heritage to get an edge with the Tanaruk. I'll give you a +1 for that. Yeah, the captain has an orcish background with knows the orcish language and orcish culture, and therefore knows a little about Tanaruks. Maybe he's heard of Tanaruks before. So information and knowledge on Tanaruks. I'll give him a +1 for that. What else we got? If you said something before, while I was describing them, I just repeat it now because I didn't see them. Things went past too fast. Outnumbering bonus. 5 on 1. That's an outnumbering bonus. The action economy helps. Information from the map. Let's see. Would that help here? Yeah, I'll give them an information bonus. We provided them a map with a lot of information and up-to-date information, and you were quick enough to act on that information, which I kept hinting, like the quicker you go, the quicker the bonuses is. So yeah, I'll give you the bonus for that. Unusual techniques bonus. Interesting. So they fight with unusual techniques because they're such a mismatched group themselves. Balguras and Tanaruks, would they be used to fighting things with usual techniques? Maybe. That's a maybe redial. If you can sort of pitch your point a little bit more, if you could sell me on it, might be on the fence there. One tactic won't work with all the different types and sizes. The demons can't use their usual tactics to overpower the group, putting them on the back foot. Okay, yeah. Between what you've said, Spates has argued your point there, Redial, I think. The different sizes and types of enemies, the demons can't use any usual tactics to overpower them, so they're on the back foot. Yeah, I'll allow that. So +1 for that. +1 for that secret that Drax has, that Krax has. I don't think so. Let me just see if the secret would come in handy here. No. Krax's secret wouldn't help the situation, so no bonus there. +1 elite bonus because they're no slouch. They are an elite team, so yeah, I'll give you a +1 elite bonus. They're well trained. They've fought together before a lot. Yeah. They're all user-submitted characters, so the guys especially we want to succeed is our love enough to give them a bonus. So a +1 plot armor bonus, is that what you're saying? I will allow it, Sparrow. I will allow you a +1 plot armor bonus from all of these characters in the MMs being user-submitted. Bonus because the demons have been attacking the weak, which is cowardly, which triggers Fire Eyes. A little bit of a stretch there, K-Clad. I'm not going to give you that one. So we're up to a +6. We've got a +6 for the MMs, and we need an 11. So we're so far succeeding if we roll a 5 or higher, which is a 80% chance. Is there anything more that we can get, or are we done? Are we done with a +6? Take on someone your own size bonus for a giant v giant fight, just for how cool it looks. A coolness bonus. Echo Knight gets really good coordination with attacking the weak. The Echo Knight. So yeah, we've already given them a numbers bonus, and the Echo Knight essentially turns the numbers bonus from it's a 6 on 2 instead of a 5 on 2. I don't think I'm going to give you an extra bonus for the Echo Knight though. Warforged would not get easily scared by monstrosities. True. Let me look up the abilities of a Balgura and a Tanaruk, because if they're mainly just about smashing stuff and not frightening stuff, then it's not going to help. Okay, we've got a Tanaruk. Tanaruk abilities, stats, magic resistance. They have advantage against magical effects. They've got multi-attack, bite, and great swords. Reaction to make an attack in response to being attacked, and they can also move their speed towards their enemies as a bonus action. So they're all about physical damage. Physical damage. No, so the Tanaruk's not so useful there. Balgura. Let's see, Balguras have some spellcasting with Entanglement and Phantasmal Force, Disguise Self, Invisibility, Reckless, so they can go advantage on their attacks. They've got Running Leap. They've got multi-attack, just Bite and Fist. The Savagery and Brutality of the Abyss, so they're not really trying to frighten or anything like that, so the Warforged being a Warforged isn't going to help there. I want to use Persuasion on the DM for an extra +1. I got too high a DC for that. Teamwork bonus, we've accounted for that one already, I feel. I give you a +1 elite team bonus. Well, Metal Defender makes it a 7 on 2. Okay, yeah. With the Metal Defender, the Steel Defender from the Artificer, and the Echo Knight from the Goliath, I'll say it's a 7 on 2, which I'll give them I'll up their bonus, their numbers bonus, outnumbered bonus from a +1 to a +2. So you've now got a +7. Well argued, Cake Ladder. +1 for mostly using not magic for their attacks, so it gets past the Tanaruk's magic resistance. I could say the same though in return, so I'm not going to get a bonus for that. Alright, I think we're scraping and we're out of ideas. So we've got a +7 to the roll here, and they need an 11. So they've got a very good chance. He says, having failed a +7 already with these. Okay, here we go. +7, and we need an 11 or more. That was a 4. A 4 on the dice, which is an 11. So you just succeed. But we've rolled 4 different allies, and we got a 1, 2, 13, 4. So I really wish that 13 had been a 3. The 13 being a 3 would have still succeeded with a +8, but it would have only just succeeded. And then the 4 would have just succeeded. How did we miss the 3? Oh my god, I thought it was a 2. No, it was a 4. Fuck, that's funny. The allies are not doing well, apparently. Rolls are as abysmal as the plane that they're from, yeah. Man, whew, That's funny. It's a good thing. It's a good thing that you really argued your point there, Cake Ladder, to get the numbers bonus up to a +2. Because without it, it would have turned the 4 to a 10, and 10 would have been a failure. So we scraped by with all of the bonuses that they got from this and that and the other. Okay, so Rob's just sick of running all these NPCs. Just kills off every ally. Former union demand Rob hires someone else to roll for him. Yeah, I need to hire somebody to come around to my house on a morning for Twitch Tales and just be the roller. No, we need to invest in a very complicated system of like an electronic dice roller with a bunch of d20s already pre-rolled into it, so that I don't have to touch them. And then you guys can put some comment in chat that will turn the dice roller on and roll for you, and then all automated it, and then you guys are rolling and not me. One day that'd be amazing to have for Twitch Tales, like to have an entirely automated process where you guys actually get to do the rolling, but with physical dice. Obviously, we could get you to roll digitally, but that's boring. Clearly, I'm the hero. Yeah, is that your takeaway, James? The dice is telling a story. The story is that we need better allies. Yeah. We need somebody else to load the dice tower so I never touch the dice. Gumball machine full of d20s. We had chat commands to do the rolling for us. You removed them. Yeah, I guess chat commands are boring. Like, I don't want digital dice. I don't want some computer telling me what you rolled. I want a dice. I want a click-clack dice from Math Rock. Once a month I'll go around and load it up. I roll decent most of the time. There you go then. Anyway. So with scraping by, we see the huge boom slamming attacks from the from both sides, from Krax the Mighty with his huge warhammer going up against the Balgora, catching it in his hand. It's kind of like the Hulk and the Hulkbuster. Just this Titan on Titan fight of these enemies and allies, just surrounding each other, hitting the Artificer, hitting them with spells from a distance. All of the other guys, what's her name, Mara carrying, I think she carries an axe or a hammer or something. I think she, we've got a giant hammer for Krax. We've got Fire Eyes, who is a dual wielder, I think I said, just to make them different because everybody else was carrying huge weapons. Mara, I think, has a giant axe, just to keep them different. Mara has an axe, Krax has a hammer, Astag Granos has a quarterstaff, and Fire Eyes has dual wielding with the Echo Knight. That's several attacks every round. So the Goliath is just cutting from both sides of this Tanaruk. The Tanaruk's trying to spin around and trying to catch the Goliath, but every time he's about to chop the Goliath's head off, he hits, but just as he hits, the Goliath turns into like his shadowy Echo version and uses the Echo Knight ability to switch places, cuts through the Echo and the Echo disappears, and then he turns around to take an attack at the Echo Knight. He slashes him twice and then appears as his Echo again, because you can just keep infinitely summoning your Echo as a bonus. There's amazing fight happening on all paths here with the choreography. It is a very close fight. I'm gonna roll. Let's just odds and evens this. See if anybody else sees Krax's secret as part of this. Odds or evens? Odds they do not. Evens they do. Evens it was. At one point, the camera sees it tracks the. I think we're doing like a cool like tracking drone shot of some kind, like following different swings. So we see Mara's great axe swing towards the Balgura, and then it continues. The camera continues past and goes into the hammerhead of Krax right behind him, and the camera follows the hammerhead up and over the top and down onto the Balgura's skull. There's a sickening crack, and the camera sort of pans past it and continues past to turn around. We're now behind the Balgura looking back at Krax, and the Balgura, having just been cracked in the head, reaches round with the arms and just grabs the body, the torso of Krax, and just crushes inwards a little. The camera kind of goes round to the side, and you can see that Krax's body has cracked open to the side here. And very briefly, it's sort of like an Easter egg that people on YouTube will be freeze framing and going through one at a time. Did you see this? Did you see this? Oh my god, they were hinting at something. Because it's only in for like half a second of frames, we see the Warforged is actually a mech suit, and there is a tiny gnome inside of Cracks, and it is not actually a Warforged at all. It is a small gnome that is operating it with levers and pulleys, and it's just for a moment that we catch a glimpse of this before the camera moves on to other things. That's pretty dope. We are getting somewhere with this fight. They are just on the verge of defeating them when the camera cuts back to you guys at the main portal, deep within enemy territory. You are now far up the mountainside. You're an hour up the mountainside. You are about a few, like we're talking less than an hour, maybe like 20 minutes walk away from where you think the portal is. I'm going to say that you've used your portal ability to do the detect portal thing. I wonder how old they are, if they were chosen as young to be ours and level up as we do. We'll have to see. So what do we want to do, guys? What's the thing you want to try? I think Sparrow said something about perception. Oath being us at the moment, and one of our best skills is perception. I vote that they use perception and navigate as we climb the mountain. Perception could be useful in this moment. Trying to, because you don't know exactly where you're going. You've got the detect portal ability, and that's definitely helping. But being able to then look out, you don't know what a portal looks like. A portal to the abyssal plane. Could he shapeshift into the demon's leader and get his powers? If he has seen and knows the demon's leader, and he has not. But very good thinking. Have them shapeshift into a demon and coax a scout into an ambush. Very good thought, Milzy. We kind of did that already with the previous skill challenge with Mosh, who is a werefox that's part of your team. We had a demon shapeshifter come over. Mosh managed to get him to drop his guard close enough to be able to tear his throat out and managed to dispatch him quickly. So a little bit too close to what we've already achieved with that, I think. And with Cake Ladder on this, let's make Oath do the same skill as us. If Oath does a survival check, same as we did, I will allow it because it's funny, but also if you try to do the same skill as somebody else in a skill challenge in my game, it is at a harder DC. I raise the DC of the success because it's to deter people just being like, oh, I'm also good at survival, I'll also do that. Oh, I'll also do survival, and it just gets boring. The whole point of a skill challenge is to try and encourage creativity, because it's funny in this moment for Apis, for Oath to look like Apis and just do the same skill challenge as you and make it just do it better. That could be funny. He has bragged that anything you can do, I can do better, and so it would be pretty funny to do a survival and just get a 16 or something on it. It could be something where the braces give a bonus. He does have your braces. Remind me what the braces do without me having to look them up. They can send. They give you an armor class bonus. They give you the ability to cast sending. And was that it? I feel like there was one other thing that I'm forgetting. TomTom, where's the nearest portal to the abyss? TomTom will definitely help you find the portal. TomTom, for those who are joining, is a tiny little blue beetle that lives in your pocket, essentially, that can act like a GPS. Do something we can do, but better. Message and armor. Message and armor. Defense and message. Okay. We don't want to fail at this critical stage. Perception, he can still flavour it as doing better than navigating. Navigating does. Yeah, I like that. New to the channel, which edition are we in? 5th edition. Has the lucky horseshoe been used today? It has, yep. It would be here otherwise. But you still have a hero point that you can reroll. You can't reroll somebody else's roll, but something that pertains to you can reroll. You're sending to get an update from the other groups. I'm not sure that would help you in this situation. It's smart to do so, and we can do that as part of flavor, but like outside, like for the skill challenge, I don't think the updates would make a lot of sense. Does Fopis have a fake TomTom called Waze? that would be very funny. Puff could use brewer's tools to make a brew that makes us resistant to exhaustion and keeps going longer. It sits down and just brews something, yeah. None of you are coming up with anything better than perception, so we're going to do that. All right, perception check. So he's going to... So you're getting into the final moments now. You ask TomTom to come out onto your palm to show the way to the nearest portal. It is very strongly showing the direction to go. Like a little pointer dog runs up your finger and little antennas stick out this way. You know you're following your nose, as it were, with that. You're outside of forest now. There's little covering you, so you're walking up a mountainside, and there are things flying overhead that may see you. So you're obviously keeping stealth with Minnie's abilities. I'm going to say that Minnie's going to go into this fight with severely lower on key points, unless you have a short rest, because she's been casting Pass Without a Trace over and over and over again throughout the day. So unless you get to where you can see the portal and then choose to just like wait here and have a half-hour sit down to catch your breath, she's going to go in with very few key points. So just keeping that in mind. But as she's Pass Without a Tracing, casting that, keeping you in darkness, keeping you in shadow, keeping your stealth a little up, Apis, the fake Apis, is going to take the lead slightly and use perception to see if he can see they can see anything that you cannot. So what bonuses have we got here? They do not get forest bonus because they are you, and you do not get forest bonus here. They do have proficiency in perception and your stats for wisdom, which means that is a plus. Actually, they have their own stats for their mental stats. They take your physical stats when they transform, kind of like Wild Shape, but they keep their own mental stats, and their mental stats for wisdom is much higher. Well, a little higher. So he's true. They are telling the truth when they say anything you can do, they can do better. They are getting perception of +6 in this moment. Perception +6. Anything that's giving them a benefit or bonuses or +d4s or anything. No guidance among your group. I can't think of anything that's going to be helping in this moment, so I'll just roll this and add a 6. Here we go. That is an 8. 8 plus 6 is 14, which is 1 less than you did on your survival. So anything you can do, they can do 1 less. So 14 survival. No, perception. 14 perception. Ha! We scream in their face. Ha ha! Suck it! And then all of the demons like... Resting would be a good idea, but it probably isn't a great place for resting. We can say that with that 14, they can find somewhere that you feel is a little safer. Maybe that's what they were Maybe that's what they were perceiving for. So before we go into sort of the descriptive element of what a 14 perception looks like and how that takes place here, let's ask the question of: do you want to have a short rest before going into the final area where the portal is? Because win or lose on this survival check, on this skill challenge here, I'm about to total them up and average them out, and win or lose, you are about to go into the final area. So thumbs up, thumbs down on short rest. Seems like a lot of yeses. Okay, short rest, yes. Yes. Okay. Yes, it is then. Okay, so we are going to have a short rest as you are approaching the area where you know it to be. So we'll use that as being the reason for the perception check. Apis steps forward and says to you as they pass, "Look, I'm not an idiot. I'm not fucking around. Like, not when we're in such situations here. Okay, I like a laugh as much as the next Fae, but I'm not going to do anything to endanger this mission. We're on the same page here. So don't worry. Also, I can tell that Minnie's getting tired. We could do to have a sit down." And you look and you think, yeah, I agree. Find us somewhere that's safe to stay. I need to focus on Tom and the direction that we're heading. And they say, yeah, of course. And they start looking out for that.
With a 14, it takes them some time. It is. I'm gonna have to go back into thinking how long this day has been. I think it's a pretty long day, right? I think you might be going into night from memory. It would be. Let's see. When did you set off? You set off on this day. It was bright and early when you grabbed crack and that, and then you took off. You were walking for a little bit before you got to the knolls, and then you were walking for another 5 hours or so after that. So yeah, it's going to be, and with it being winter as well, we're going into sort of twilight time. It's still light enough to be able to see, but it's getting darker out. Does everyone in a party have dark vision? As a dwarg, you have dark vision. Currently as a dwarg, Apis has dark vision. Mel does not, I don't think. Mosh as a werefox, can't remember if he has dark vision. He's a human before he was a werefox, so I don't think he has dark vision. As a dragonborn, Fang does not have dark vision. As a shadow monk, Minnie does have dark vision. Or at least she can cast dark vision, I believe. So yeah, no, half your party does not. Fang, you know mountains, right? Can you help Oaf find a safe spot for us to rest? Yeah, he does so. With that 14, you managed to find a safe enough spot to rest. It's an alcove of a cave of some kind. It has a blackish green sludge just kind of pooling at the base of this, like towards the back of the cave. And you definitely don't want to touch it because it seems to be just softly bubbling every so often, just like little spurts of something, whether it's alive or boiling or there's something in it that's effervescent and coming out of it. You don't know, but you stay away from it. You try not to breathe too much. It's not a very relaxing short rest, but it is restful enough that Minnie can sit down, meditate, and get her key points back. Fang, as a fighter, will get his action surge and second wind back. As an artificer, he doesn't get anything back, I don't think. As a ranger, I don't think he gets anything back except maybe some of those, like his primeval, no, that's spells, so he doesn't get that back. So I think Fang's good with that. Then we've got Mosh. Mosh doesn't use resources so much as a werefox. He can just do it as many times as he wants, so he doesn't get anything back on a short rest except for health, hit points. Mel doesn't get anything back on a short rest, I don't think. So I think that might be all of your allies that get anything on a short rest, which leaves you, and whether you want to do anything for your short rest. In the meantime, I will just quickly add up these numbers and do the totals. So 110 divided by the 5 of you, so that is an average of 22. On your skill challenge, each of you succeeded individually to varying degrees, but successes nonetheless. And then you, as a group, succeeded with aplomb, with excess. Your allies, however, they failed individually, they succeeded individually, and they succeeded individually. I didn't write that down. 11, which was a nat 4 plus 7. So individually they succeeded 2, failed 2, and then as a group we got 6 plus 9 plus 21 plus 11. And then divide by 4, 11.75 average. So thankfully to the Yugoloths, who smashed it out of the park with a 21, your allies as a whole just succeeded on an 11 DC. Because the allies were basically 50-50, either 11 or more, or 10 or less. And 11.75, the allies as a whole succeed. They will, because it's that close, and because a couple of the different individual groups did fail on their own, there will be casualties. There will be people that in the next arc of the campaign you might discover there's repercussions for having sent the hobgoblins in and then not really helped them, or not waited for the humans to arrive with reinforcements or whatever else.
But on a whole, the hobgoblins have done a good enough. The allies have done a good enough job of distracting the main forces of the demons and closing or starting to close the smaller portals. Distracted a bunch of the enemies away from the main mountain, and you have succeeded in your mission to nip behind enemy lines and get the elite squad team to the main portal. As you finish your short rest, you will get back your second wind and your action surge, and you can choose whether or not to use a hit dice. You have 8 hit dice to use, and you get 1 back on every long rest, so you might as well, it's free. But thumbs up, thumbs down, do you want to use a hit dice to recover 1d10 plus your constitution modifier? Yeses all around. Alright, so yeses it is. We will roll a d10 plus your constitution modifier. Where's the d10 at? There it is. That is a 6. 6 plus your mod takes you back up to full. So you're at 85 hit points going into the fight. You've used 7 hit dice. You have a second wind and an action bonus. You do not have your lucky horseshoe. You do not have all of your spell slots. You've got quite a few arrows to do with what you need. But you're in a pretty good place between you all. And so you continue on out of the cave. Journeying a little bit further up the mountainside, you eventually crest over a particular rock, a particular boulder, a particular ridge. And what you see makes your skin crawl. Even if you couldn't see the portal, you would know that you're in the right place from the palpable sense of corruption and decay. The sky and the mountainous horizon blending together into a cold, grey depression surrounding you. What plants remain here are thick, thorny vines strangling life from anything else. The few water sources you can see are flowing with sludge and have developed a skin of scum at the slower moving sides. It is far colder here than in the wintry forest leading up to the ridge, and the condensation of your breath seems to form thick droplets of murky water that falls to the ground. The smell here makes your head hurt, like burnt rubber and sulphur mixing with some bodily emissions of a deathly ill creature. Breathing the air is unpleasant. But as if you needed the confirmation, your eyes land on the target of your mission. A sickening and mind-breaking hole to another dimension. Your brain struggles to comprehend it, with 2 realities overlaid on top of one another. In this reality, a ruined ring of stone columns, an unmaintained artifact of a bygone culture of some sort, and at the centre of it, an undulating, pulsating, thrumming wound in the foundations of the very plane itself. This wound is oozing and seeping an effluvium of demons, little by little, each testing the waters, entering the plane with caution lest this be a trick by the devil enemies, and then when discovering the reality, gaining the confidence to scurry, flit, and fly in various directions to cause havoc and destruction on this plane. The final element demanding your attention in this moment is a creature of a surprising appearance. The last creature you would have expected to be guarding an entrance to the plane of the abyss. You see an equine guardian of a form you have become familiar with in person only a matter of weeks ago, slowly trotting away from you, an unmistakable form of a unicorn. In the short time that you've had to get to know Julius, the one thing you can say about them is that they exude the essence of goodness. To their core, they are the epitome of divine and holy. So to see one here, moving with patrolling intent around the far side of the portal as you watch, it bends your mind to try and comprehend it. But when it re-emerges from the other side and begins heading back in your direction, you're able to see its head clearly for the first time. And suddenly it makes sense. The words of the gods in your dream, warning what a shame it is to send something to help only for it to be made worse. The image of a unicorn that was chosen from the gods to teach you how to hunt. All of it crashes together into a new level of understanding for you once you see this creature's true form. Where a unicorn should have a long equine-like face and brilliant bright mane, you see an empty hollow, as though the entire front portion of its skull has been removed and the excess skin torn open into a gaping wound. The flesh and saggy skin forming an open hole that droops below its body. A mouth through which a similar extra-dimensional effect seems to prevent the return of any life which is passing into its maw. Its mane is matted and black, its coat dark and unkempt. Even its horn, rather than an awe-inspiring ivory, now a filthy example of the brownish rust colour often seen at the site of a gruesome death days after the gore has dried. Whatever force caused this once fine being to become this horrendous abomination, one thing is certain: there will be no closing this portal until you've put this creature out of its misery. As you are facing down a Bodacicorn, a Bodak unicorn, Apis, we will pick up here next time. Thank you very much for joining me, and I look forward to episode 100. Bye.
Hot damn, Apis' story's getting really exciting, huh? Well, let me know your favourite part of the story so far in the comments below.